She was talking to me about the creation of healing circles, the permission for people to talk about these things and to be able to be vulnerable together. So it's not only on an individual level or a gender level. We're talking about the importance of this on a group level too. The interpersonal things are very important because it's the relationship between the person and the pack. If you talk to people about the healing power of support, there was some wonderful, wonderful research, and I'll refer to this in a minute, wonderful research that surveyed every single person who was able to make a phone call during 9/11. Who received a phone call from one of their loved ones who were involved in 9/11. Just over 3,500 people. And when the families were called, and they said, what was said to you? What was the last message that you received with the aid of modern technology? Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of those people heard exactly the same thing. Every one got exactly the same message. And it wasn't the formulas in the bottom drawer. The power and the recognition of that kind of support and love comes to bear not only in crisis, but in joy times as well. It's tremendously, tremendously healing. And what we're saying is now this is the law of the jungle, as old and as true as the sky. And the wolf that shall keep it may prosper, but the wolf that shall break it must die. As the creeper that girdles the tree trunk, the law runneth forward and back. But the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. We need each other, and each other need us. And that's how we feed really on each other. There's a wonderful book called Love and Survival, the scientific basis for the healing power of intimacy. And it's full of hardcore reads, written by the Dean of Medicine at the University of California in Irvine. The research shows that if you've got love and support in your life, you get sick less often and you stay sick for a shorter period of time. If you ask anyone who's been through a hard time about the lesson that they learned, that they carry with them, it was about the power and the healing power, physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, of being able to be authentic and true and vulnerable and supported by another person. And I think that in a sense that was the power of the World Cup as well, because it wasn't the soccer that made everyone nice to each other. The soccer was the vehicle that allowed everyone to connect to each other, to start conversations with each other, to say, which games are you watching? To even say, who are you? It was a great conversation starter. It was a great connection. Nothing joins people more than a shared emotional event. So all that happened was it unleashed what was in us already. It didn't change who we were. It gave us permission to be who we were. As important as your obligations as a doctor, lawyer, or business leader will be, you are a human being first. And these human connections, with spouses, with children, with friends, are the most important investments you will ever make. At the end of your life, you'll never regret not having passed one more test, nor winning one more verdict, nor closing one more deal. You will regret time not spent with a partner, a child, a friend, a parent. Our success as a society depends not on what happens in government, in the White House, but rather started off by what happens inside your house. And watch the contagious nature of that. It's extremely powerful. This is an extract of a speech to women that was given by former President Bush's mother, Barbara Bush, who spoke to a group of graduating students. When I talk about the contagious nature of that, I'm just going to tell you very quickly about what happened to me, and you'll see on the date of this email, actually only last week. Some of you who here know me well and know that a couple of years ago, it was actually in 2007, my husband received a very unfortunate diagnosis of having multiple myeloma, which is a kind of cancer, which affects the bones of the body. We've been dealing with it, and fortunately, he's been holding his own and doing very well. A couple of weeks ago, actually about 2 weeks ago, we got this phone call, this pronouncement from the medical aid that went something like, your husband really isn't doing well, or he's not doing well. We don't think he's going to get better, and we will withdraw all of the funding. That started me on a very focused mission, simply because it's not true, a very focused mission. To contact all the doctors who'd been involved, to write up all the history, to refute this, to go on appeal. And what I want to say to you is that I did. Our doctors, and I include myself, are busy. I'm aware that I'm not their only patient, okay? They have other things to do, and it took some time. The calls were eventually returned. But then I want to tell you about Mr. Best in the world. Mr. Best in the world is a real person. He is the world absolute authority at Harvard University. All the research and the development of new medication comes out of his unit. He is the best in the world. If you Google anything on this topic, you will see his name. And it happened to be, because that is when I work, at about 2 o'clock in the morning, I made a phone call to the States. Mr. Best in the world answered the phone himself. He spoke to me and he said, hello, Dori, we've had certain contact over the time. And I told him the plight. He said, I will send you the research. We will make this happen, and your husband and I will grow old together. I put down the phone, I sent him a short email saying that thanks does not suffice. And he sent me an email back, just one word, one line, and it said, we are family. Now, I hardly know him. But what he was talking about was the brotherhood of man. The fact that anyone who you connect with on a deep level can be in your heart, is like your family. That's all he said. We are family. And I was so overtaken and open as a result of this, that you can see that this is the email. Look at the date on the top. It was last week on 7th of August. Look at the time. It was 2 o'clock in the morning that I wrote to him, and I wanted to illustrate to you how contagious and how important mindfulness and kindness to your fellow human beings is. And that, as much as anything else that we're talking about today, will help influence and change the society in a sustainable way. Dear Ken, from you I learn about availability to my patients, and they are appreciative. From you I learn about respect, so I'm mindful of the needs of others and attempt to attend to them timelessly. From you I learn about humility. People who mind don't matter, and people who matter don't mind. From you I learn about the healing power of support, with a little help from science. From you I learn about commitment and purpose. The world celebrates your mission and its outcome. From you I learn about the value of optimism. It makes for resilience, and that attitude translates into no alternative to winning. Thank you for what you do, and most especially for who you are, with immense appreciation. Now, as I say, that was a very real email. And I wanted to show it to you because of how powerful your acts of kindness can be, and how they will not stop with you, and how they will be contagious, and how they will spread, and how in that small way, just by